So today is um, Monday, June 29th, 2020 at 9:38 a.m. So I will let you know about some of the progress I've made on my F2l improvement. So I actually made F2l vlog 4 already. And it was about basically I was gonna try to input a bunch of my new F2L algs, or maybe even all of my F2L algorithms, into an algorithm trainer, and then drill those algorithms over and over. But first of all, it would take 5 gajillion billion years to input all my algs, and I mean technically I could just input certain specific cases, but I've decided that I don't need to do that anyways. I can just basically do tons of solves, because solves themselves are good trainers for F2L, because you get randomized F2L on every solve. So I've decided just to do that. So I made some very good progress a couple days ago. I did a session of 931 solves. One of the longest sessions I've ever done in one day. I think I may have done over 1,000 in one day before. I can't remember though. Probably the most I've ever done in one day is like maybe 1,100 solves. So it's pretty close to like my own. And besides, that was back when I was averaging 8 seconds. I did an entire session averaging 11.6 seconds, and did 900 solves of that. So that took forever. But here's the thing though. So before that session, I was averaging anywhere from 13, 12, well, actually, yeah. Because, like, the previous long session I had done before that, the average of the session was 13 seconds. So, basically, I was averaging about 13 seconds at best. Sometimes I would even be averaging 14 or 15 seconds, but at the very best, I was averaging 13 seconds. And then, after just one session of 900 solves, my average went down to 11.6. And that's of the entire session. That doesn't include, that doesn't take into account the fact that I was averaging slightly higher near the beginning of the session, and then near the end of the session I was averaging faster. So basically, like the current average of 100 for comparison is 11.2, and my best average of 100 in this session was 10.4. So, but I will still say that my average is at 11.6, because that's the average of the entire session. So hopefully I will continue to see this kind of improvement by doing these long sessions. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. Today I'm just going to do another really, really long session. It will probably end up being a very similar number of solves, and I'm going to see if I can try to see any actual improvement here. I have no idea how much I may improve. So for that session, I improved from about a 13.0 average to an 11.6 average. So I went down by 1.4 seconds. So if I was to go down by 1.4 seconds again, it would go from 11.6 to 10.2. So the average of the session would be 10.2. But I don't think that's going to happen, because the faster you get, the slower the improvement. So I'm going to just have a goal of this session. Well, I can't really control what my average is, but I'm hoping that the average is at least sub 11 for this session. Sub 11. So maybe 10.9, 10.8 is the goal for this session. But then again, I can't really control that. It's just all comes down to how fast my brain wants to learn all these algorithms. So there you go. I will get started on the session. Listening to music, listening to a bunch of different soundtracks. They're all Toho soundtracks. But yeah, that's kind of what I do to keep myself sane and like just stay focused. I just kind of listen to the music and just solve and solve and solve, and don't stop at all. So I will now try to do that, or I'll at least get started on it. I'll probably take a break to eat lunch, but other than that, maybe take a break to eat a snack But other than that, there's no breaks. Just gonna straight solve all day long. So, that's the session I did before. The average was 11.6. My best solve was 5.7. But I'm gonna delete that session and start a new session. And I'll probably give you an update around when I go eat lunch or when I go and eat a snack or whatever. So I'll let you know how it's going. So it's currently 9:43. Okay, it is 12 o'clock. So far I've done 258 solves. Unfortunately, the average is 12.75. So you may be wondering, well, how come you were averaging 11.6 yesterday, but today you're averaging 12.75? I think I know why. It's because there's probably a number of different reasons. I guess I'm not really sure exactly, but I would theorize that yesterday, after warming up for like 500 solves, then my brain starts to get really good at cubing for some reason, so then I get really, really good, and the second half of the session was really, really good, so it pulled the average way down. But so far today I haven't gotten all warmed up like that yet, so I'm still averaging 12.7. But you would say, well, actually yesterday you were averaging 12.4 for the first half of the session, and then the second half you're averaging like 11.0. And today your average is 12.7. Well, here's the thing. I think there's another reason why it's slow. It's because there are, even after all of these solves, I am still finding and trying to figure out different solutions for different cases. Like, there are still a few cases where I'm not even sure what the best solution is, and I have to pause and figure it out. But I'm slowly figuring it out throughout my solves. I'm thinking probably I want to still use the algorithm trainer. I just will only input specific cases, and I'm not going to put every single like, I'm basically going to use the algorithm trainer probably. Like, if I am in the mood to do it, I'm going to use the algorithm trainer and only put in like 5 different F2l cases, and then I'm gonna randomize the number of slots myself. I'm gonna randomize the number of slots and the rotation myself. The algorithm trainer itself can also randomize well, I could actually not do that. Like, I could basically set up it. And luckily enough, it randomizes AUF for me, so I can set up the case, each case. So hopefully I'll be able to motivate myself to do that. But for now, what I'm probably gonna do right now, since it's 12, I'm just gonna go eat lunch and then come back and continue the session. And I want to make somewhat significant progress in the session. But if I feel like giving up, then I can give up. But if I give up, I have to go to the algorithm trainer and actually work on that. So as for the stats, so far we're at a 12.7 average, and that's all the rest of the time stuff right there. Nothing too extraordinary. I got 11.8 average of 50, but it's not that great. And I got an 8. Well, that's not good either. I got a 6.74. That's my best time so far. Anyways, I'll now go eat lunch, and then after lunch, I'll go back to the session and then let you know after that. It's 12:04. It is now 4:36. The average of the session is now 12.01. And my best average of 100 was 10.7, and my best solve was 5.3. And I'm not done, but yep, I need to go. I was just gonna go eat a snack and then go on an errand and then go back to solves. It is 4:37. So actually I decided I'm not gonna continue the session, so that's the final statistics from the session that I already showed you. So compared to yesterday's session, it was obviously not even faster. It wasn't even faster. Like, not even a little bit. It was actually slower by quite a bit. So it was 0.4 seconds slower in terms of average. My best average of 100 was 0.3 seconds slower. Best average of 50 was like almost an entire second slower. So apparently doing 800 solves is not gonna improve my times at all somehow. So so I think next time I'm not gonna actually do, well, maybe I'll do some more of these long sessions, but first what I want to do is actually use the algorithm trainer this time. So but I won't input every single alg like I was before. That's ridiculous. I'm only gonna do specific cases. So I'll basically just input a setup to, so like for one of the cases, basically this case and the mirror of this case is one of the ones that I always struggle on in my solves. I notice, like, I pause. There are so many situations where I'm not sure what to do for this, like, because I basically completely changed the way I do this case completely. Like, I literally don't even use this alg anymore. Like, I only use that alg if I want to do EO, but otherwise I think a better algorithm, like for example in this case, would be to do this instead. But and then from different angles it's different. So that case I'm always pausing on, so I'm gonna practice that one first. And I think another one that I often pause on, well, not too often, but this one, this case, in the mirror of this case, there are a few, I changed the way I do this quite a bit as well. So like for example, ignore the EO, but you could do this algorithm instead. It's just pretty quick. So but I'm not gonna input every single case. I'm only gonna do like one case at a time. Maybe one case plus the mirror, but maybe just even just the case, because if you think about it, I'm okay. So I don't know exactly how I'm gonna set it up because I want to account for every single AUF, every single angle, and every single there's basically three different factors: AUF, angle, and how many slots are open. So like I have to account for all those things. So I'm not sure how I'm going to set that up on the algorithm trainer, but I will set it up somehow and then drill it over and over again until I get it down. But if you account for all those three different things, you basically have 64 different cases for every F2l case. Because if you, it's like 4 times 4 times 4, 4 AUFs, four angles, and four possibilities for empty slots. So it's basically 64 separate cases. Now that doesn't necessarily mean I use 64 algorithms for the case. It's just that I probably use, like I probably use like 6 or 7 different algorithms. Well, I don't know, not 6 or 7, but like 3 or 4 different algorithms, and I have to determine which algorithm is the best to do on each individual case. So yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, as you can tell, I apparently still average 12 seconds even after doing another 800 solves. And that's about it for today's F2l video. Goodbye.